In the Yoruba village of Olokun, a land where the whispers of palm trees mingled with the chants of the ancestors, life pulsed to the rhythm of the talking drums. These drums carried the stories of the people, from joyous celebrations to solemn rituals. But one fateful night, the drums went silent. The silence wasn't natural. It was a warning, a harbinger of betrayal that would alter the course of the village forever. Chapter 1. The Drummer of Olokun. Adetokunbo was no ordinary drummer. His rhythms were alive, each beat carrying a story, a prayer, or a plea to the gods. It was said that his drum could summon rain in the dry season or calm storms at sea. His sister, Iyanu, admired him deeply, often watching as his fingers danced over the stretched leather, weaving magic into sound. One evening, during preparations for the annual Yam Festival, Adetokunbo received a mysterious summons to the chief's compound. He left his drum behind, promising Iyanu he would return before the festival began. But that night, the festival lights dimmed, and Adetokunbo never came back. His drum, found shattered beneath the sacred Iroko tree, bore bloodstains that told a grim tale. Chapter 2. A Village Divided. News of Adetokunbo's disappearance spread quickly. The chief declared it an act of divine punishment, claiming Adetokunbo had angered the gods by playing forbidden rhythms. Many villagers accepted this explanation, too afraid to question the chief's authority. But Iyanu wasn't convinced. Her brother was a devout man who respected the gods and their laws. She began asking questions, probing into the events of that night. Each inquiry was met with suspicion or fear. One elder pulled her aside and whispered, "Child, tread carefully. The gods may not be the only ones watching." Chapter 3. The Oracle's Prophecy. Determined to uncover the truth, Iyanu journeyed to the edge of the village, where the oracle's hut stood cloaked in shadows. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of burning herbs, and the oracle's milky white eyes seemed to pierce Iyanu's soul. "What you seek lies in the shadows of power," the oracle began. "The silent drums cry for justice, but to awaken their voice you must first face betrayal. Take this charm. It will protect you from those who wish to silence you." The oracle warned Iyanu of a coming storm, both literal and figurative, and urged her to listen to the ancestors. Chapter 4. Whispers of Betrayal. Iyanu began to observe the chief and his council more closely. She noticed their wealth seemed to grow, even as the village struggled. Late one night, while fetching water, she overheard a hushed conversation between two guards. "The boy knew too much," one said. "It had to be done, or he would have exposed everything," the other replied. Iyanu's heart raced. What had her brother discovered? The answer came when she followed the guards to a hidden granary outside the village. There, under the cover of darkness, sacks of grain meant for the villagers were being loaded onto carts and sold to traders from neighboring towns. Chapter 5. The Ancestors' Warning. Shaken but resolute, Iyanu returned to the sacred Iroko tree. She placed her brother's broken drum at its base and began to play, her hands mimicking the rhythms he had once taught her. The air grew cold, and the ground trembled. A faint light surrounded the tree, and Adetokunbo's spirit appeared. His face was filled with sorrow, but also pride. "Iyanu," he said, his voice echoing like the wind through the trees, "you have uncovered the truth. The chief and his council betrayed the village and silenced me to hide their greed. The ancestors are restless, but they cannot act without a mortal hand to guide them. Play the rhythm of justice, and they will hear your call." As he vanished, the tree glowed brighter, and the spirits of the ancestors emerged, their forms both majestic and terrifying. They whispered promises of vengeance, but only if Yanu was brave enough to lead them. Chapter 6. The Chief's Wrath. The next morning, Iyanu confronted the chief during a village meeting. She accused him of betrayal, presenting the stolen grain as evidence. The villagers gasped, torn between fear of the chief and outrage at his actions. The chief's face darkened. "You dare to accuse me?" he thundered. He ordered his guards to seize her, but before they could act, a sudden gust of wind swept through the gathering, carrying with it the faint sound of drums. The villagers froze. It was a rhythm none of them had ever heard before, powerful, haunting, and otherworldly. Chapter 7. The Spirits Rise. Ianu, clutching her brother's repaired drum, began to play. Each beat summoned the ancestors, their forms shimmering in the midday sun. The chief and his guards stumbled back in terror as the spirits surrounded them. The ancestors spoke through Ianu, their voices a chorus of justice. "You have betrayed your people and silenced the truth. Now you shall face the consequences." The chief and his council tried to flee, but the spirits blocked their path. The villagers, emboldened by the ancestors' presence, rose up, stripping the chief of his power and banishing him and his allies from Olokun. Chapter 8. The Restoration. With the chief gone, the village began to heal. Ianu, now a symbol of courage and justice, was chosen to lead the festival in her brother's honor. She played his drum, her rhythm a blend of mourning and celebration, as the villagers danced under the stars. The ancestors, satisfied, returned to their realm, but their presence lingered in the hearts of the people. Chapter 9. A Legacy of Courage. Ianu continued to use her voice and her brother's drum to advocate for truth and justice. She taught the younger generation the importance of standing against corruption, ensuring that Adetokunbo's sacrifice was never forgotten. The Iroko tree became a sacred site, a reminder of the night the ancestors rose to defend their people. Chapter 10. The Eternal Rhythm. As years passed, the story of the Night of the Silent Drums became legend. Travelers from distant lands came to hear the tale of the brave girl who played the rhythm of justice and awakened the ancestors. Iyanu's name was etched into the history of Olokun, her story told with every beat of the talking drums. And though Adetokunbo was gone, his spirit lived on in the music, a timeless reminder that silence is never the answer to injustice. Outro. And so, the talking drums of Olokun beat on, carrying the tale of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond between siblings. In the rhythms of the drums, the ancestors speak, and their message is clear: justice will always find its voice.